right, very warm greetings here from Plot 13 Summit View Road, the home of Next Media Services. Welcome to today's edition of the Media Roundtable. My name is Joseph Sabiti. I'm sitting in for Solomon Seranja, who, alongside Mebo Twegumiezake, this later in the day should be graduating with master's degrees in journalism. Congratulations, mates. You actually found time to go to class and study, when in the middle of the running away like a headless chicken. Kongs. All right, welcome. We'll be looking at the most topical issue in the country right now, the race for the Speaker and Deputy Speakership of the 11th Parliament. Later, Kanari Mugume will join us to try to look at the numbers from an opinion poll that the Next Media Services conducted in regard to how the race is standing. For now, let's start with the topical issue. On Monday, the country has to get a Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, and we'll try to look at what dimensions are at play, and also we'll touch a bit on the kind of speaker that we need for the 11th Parliament. My panel this morning, Mr. Peter Kibazo is a journalist. Wow, should I say senior veteran or senior veteran? Peter gave me my first sit-in for a talk show. I remember it was Issues at Hand in these very studios. As a young boy trying to find my footing, he was kind enough to actually believe in me. Welcome to the Media Roundtable, Peter.
Thank you, Joseph. Always pleasure to come around and find you guys.
Find you guys is quite weird. All right, and Tony Geoffrey Owana is another veteran in the trade.
Put a plus.
Yeah, plus maybe 4 times. He brings the historical perspective. I honestly admire your recollections. Sometimes I wish I had lived as long as you to recall those things. Welcome.
You will. I assure you, you will. And I can see you doing journalism for another 50 years. Here.
Huh?
Don't worry.
50.
50 only. Me, I've done only 35. And I am about to do another 35. How do you see it? Am I?
Well, the most admired journalist at the Telegraph was F. Deeds. F. Deeds passed at 96. He had served the media from when he was 23.
Okay, so I'm glad to be here. This is the first television station I ever worked for on earth.
Oh, NBS.
Yes.
I recall.
The first one. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much. And Charity Imbisiwe is a journalist. Many people now associate her with the push for better electoral practices. She is a team leader at SEDU, but also a journalist. Once a journalist, always one. Welcome to the Media Roundtable, Charity. It's a pleasure to have you back again.
Thank you very much, Joseph, and I'm happy to be here.
All right, we expect to be joined by Helen Kawesa, the Deputy Director, Communications and Public Affairs at the Parliament of Uganda in the course of debate. I'll start with you, Peter. We're counting down to Monday. Of course, the preliminaries, what would go for a quarter-final and a semi-final will happen on Saturday and Sunday. That's the SEC and NRM caucus. But what is your reading of how the race is shaping so far?
That old word, déjà vu. We've been here. We've seen it. It's going to play out the very same way it's always played out. Who has the cards? Who has the deck? If, I don't know, I'm a bit crass. Any of you has been to a casino, a good one? If you're on a roulette table, the guy that spins that table calls the game. Done. If you've played blackjack, it's a cards game. The guy that spreads those cards very beautifully on the table calls the game. And you have won. This is General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's game. He is the one spinning at the roulette table. And he will spin it the way he wants it. Everyone else is playing to please the general. How they please the general is what will give you results. And I'm going to use an old story. Sabit, you've been in the media, and you know that I had privilege to be, quote-unquote, acquainted to John Patrick Amama Mbabazi. There was a time when he was the most powerful thing outside Yoweri Museveni in the NRM. He wanted to be Secretary General, he would snap, Parliament would fall in place. He wanted anything, it would fall in place. The day the general said, no, I don't want him in. That was it. It was done. He was shoved off. There was booing in Nambole. It happened to be Dandisali. It happened to Kenya. It happened to Mbabazi. If General Yoweri Museveni has made up his mind, like the cards seem, Kadaga can either accept to be vice president. And I was reading a very old newspaper, by the way, very interesting. The Monitor, actually red paper, very old, about 10 years ago or less. It has Sekandi rejects vice presidency. He still wants to keep the seat at Parliament. Where did Sekandi end? He served 10 as vice president. Possibly will happen to Kadaga. But outside that, there are the other dynamics.
Are you able to predict this card holder in this particular game? From your reading, can you predict where he stands?
Yes and no. Two things. One, up to possibly a week ago, it seemed like the NRM, not the NRM, the owner of the NRM was decided. He wanted Jacob Oulanyah. And people hadn't totally fallen in place because of one thing. He hadn't put through that call. They hadn't put through that call, and it doesn't come from very many people. There are specific people that are dependable, reliable, that when Sabiti calls me and says, HE would like you to vote XYZ, it's a game changer, it's done. When, is she a Colonel, is she a Brigadier, is she a General? Nakalema, what's she now?
She's a Colonel.
Yes. When she puts through that call and puts it through to 230 MPs, finished. It will be game done. Game done. There will not be anything else. But Yoweri Museveni is on a math game. It's a chessboard. There are so many things that are in play. That's why I think it hasn't been decided yet. You have a term of office that is a transitional term, either from Yoweri to Yoweri, or from Yoweri to the next generation of his choice, and he's going to look at a lot of things. That transition term is going to look at the geopolitics of this nation. Where are your new votes? The NRM's new love child is Acholi region. They're the new love child. You've just lost Buganda. Buganda has moved over. There will be efforts to win back Buganda. But Acholi has been delivered to you on a silver platter.
After so many years.
Yes. The trauma of Acholi, courtesy of all the wars, the people of Acholi seem to have decided it's time to pick ourselves up. We are not going to win this. We do not have a boy in the ring. Let's move. You want to harness that. They have a Chief Justice that is not going to do a lot of willy-dallying in the politics. You need a top-notch politician. So if they actually cannot get a speaker, will they get a vice president? Possibly, possibly not. You don't want to lose Lango, where they've been won over. You've done an alliance with Akena and UPC, and they are on board. So you can't lose Lango. You think that if I reward the Acholi, Jacob comes with two gifts. Jacob is, Mijingo Island. Jacob is a sort of Mijingo. He stands on the borderline of Acholi and Lango. Both of them can gladly claim him in that area. But also, he comes with a lot of the other gifts. And he has delivered. In a candid way, Jacob has delivered Acholi. Possibly he didn't, but he did. And it's possible Jacob will deliver Norbert Mao as well, and DP. That is the other math.
That's quite a bold call. Thank you, Peter. I'll come back to you.
So it's Jacob's race to lose.
It's up to him to lose.
It's Jacob's race to lose.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's welcome Helen Kawesa. Thank you for joining us on the Media Roundtable. Tony Joffe, you're reading into the cards ahead of Monday.
Chibazo has mesmerized me. Okay, let me leave you alone. I might have been responsible for exhuming that copy of Red Paper.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was going through my ancient things.
Now we know.
Now you work in the annals of death.
Then I said, second rejects vice president. I read, I said, hey, it was the same script. So I shared it and it moved and he also got it. Of course, I was accused by some people of decampaigning, but those accusations are always there. For me, my reading is based on that old script. In the morning, I received another video where Madam Speaker was urging the NRM leadership not to change the position which it adopted with a previous speaker. And this is an old video. But from other readings I've been getting, the speaker is saying, we don't have to go by those old things. Now, for me, who does my things from Ebiawa and Ikibwa, I think if we go by the script that has been going for the last maybe 20 years, then the next speaker will be Jacob, courtesy of the system that President Museveni has put in place.
Or the absence of one.
No. If it was absent, there would be nothing. But there is that one. It doesn't look very obvious, but you know very well it is there. And very, very present. I will agree with you that I didn't know that the person who I thought roulette was a chance game. You are telling me there's a lot of reading in roulette. You are the one saying. But I have not been impressed by the way this campaign is being conducted. I've seen bare knuckle punches. I've seen statements made which an old fox like Yoweri Museveni, when he keeps quiet like that, there is trouble brewing. I have been reading, and you know, these days we see things and then they later paste there something called fake news. And I think now the trick is you put something yourself, then after it has circulated, declare it fake. These things are happening, and this is the modern journalism. We are about to retire, me and you, because we can't do those things. So now, I saw one which was saying that the Madam Speaker was saying, vote for me, I'm the one who can manage Museveni. The next time I saw it, there was
fake news.
It was fake. But the disclaimer is never as powerful as the original. Never. However much apologies you make, the thing is already done. Now, what I know is that Rebecca Daga is very powerful.
Absolutely.
She handles MPs like a family. Chibazo, you are Catholic.
Absolutely.
You know, a Catholic priest in a parish is where you go for confession. So he's like Iso. He knows all your nonsense, he knows your late coming, he knows your dodging, he knows the way he has forgiven you the number of times. Now, a person like that one can also give you a call and say, vote wisely. On the other hand, people who may want to free themselves from the power of that priest, and there's a chance of doing it secretly, they will also remove that person. So, these powers we are looking at, where the president may have a problem in his roulette table, is on the privileges of parliament. In Chankwanzi, those young MPs told him plainly they wanted to keep their trips. Now, there is no MP candidate who can dare.
Anthony,
yes?
Jacob Olanya played to that gallery. When he came to speak, and I found that very interesting that they invited him to speak. When he came to respond to the president, he said, Mr. President, sir, in Nigeria they say Kabiyesi Baba. Mr. President, sir, we beg that you allow these trips to stay. We shall rationalize. We will be able to do. So that he appears among the MPs as if he's the one that pleads for them. That wasn't a mistake.
Whatever happened, there is no candidate for speaker who can dare to support the president's position because it is unpopular.
Okay.
But the president says he will put it to a referendum. And we ordinary people who are jealous enough about how Parliament enjoys, of course, we shall vote against it. Definitely, that one we shall not allow.
Thank you, Tony. Let me get back to you in a bit. Charity, you're reading into this chessboard. Barely a couple of hours to the decision day.
You see, I like the analysis from Tony and Peter, and I was enjoying listening. I wish I was just watching, but I have to weigh in the following way. I think, one, to leave to be a speaker and become a vice president, in my view, is a demotion, because the speakership is a whole entity of an arm of government. And the presidency is also an arm of government. So when you leave this arm to become a member of another arm, you've been purely demoted. And that is the demotivation for Kadaga.
Charity, there is a new motivation next door.
Which one?
I mean, in case of anything.
There is a new motivation,
You stand
girl.
at the border in case of anything.
Can you influence
You are number 2 and you may call on the
But
God.
can you influence the
please.
motivation?
How do you call on the gods to how do you call on the gods to send out somebody? So first the candles
by
be lit out. But anyway, it would be a demotion by and by if you look at it holistically in terms of
Look,
governance.
Wapa left the seat and became NPC. Ayume became Attorney General.
Yeah, I know all
At least someone has the VP's.
I know Joseph.
kicked
I know
upstairs.
Joseph. But that said, that is what lies in the mind of a one Rebecca Kadaga. She has stayed in this office for the years you have seen, and she was deputy speaker
20 years.
before. Don't count 20 years while speaker. While speaker, it has only been 10. We
10
count,
as deputy.
Oh, we count 20 when you add on deputy.
Plus vice chair
Of
of the
NRC.
Yes.
Yes, we know about all that. But we are saying also experience matters in these issues. And I'm trying to be as objective as possible, Joseph. I think that she has garnered a lot of experience in managing that house. She has her weaknesses as a person, and we would be happy to see this speakership shift, because most certainly one of the progressive things as people who believe in democracy do is that you give the seat to another person to also come and expend their energy or show their talent. But when we look at the two people that are being fronted for this position, we ask ourselves, what does Jacob bring on board that is distinct from what Kadaga has expensed in that house? Kadaga knew how to press the buttons with the MPs. So what do I see? Your question is, what do I see in the next days coming? We have had a terrible debate within the media, and I've been wondering, why is the media overlapping speakership? You know, I wondered, it became a big story. Suddenly, for the first time, we have an expression of interest coming in from speakers going to the NRM secretariat. Of course, that already tells you that the cards have been laid bare for Kadaga is exiting.
That happened in 2016.
The president has moved in, but of course...
No, in 2016, they expressed interest at the Electoral Commission of the NRM. Fact.
Yeah, but this expression of interest at this time, after a massive debate, you know, Joseph, for me, this is what, in 2016, did you see the debate as big as this? Was it as huge as what we have seen right now? Every day, every moment you wake up, you know, there are 16 stories about the rest of the speakership. This one's camp is weak. This one's camp has done this. This one's camp has gone here. This one's camp is doing this.
Shouldn't we separate the stories from propaganda? Because when you say stories, then a story has benchmarks, as Peter and Tony will tell you.
Yeah, but
they
have already told you that journalism is fast dying out with citizen journalism. We are seeing a lot of fake news and unfake news, and to tell the difference between fake and unfake becomes very difficult, except you're a journalist yourself, because there are tenets which you look out for in a story. But if you're not a journalist, you cannot tell those things, and that is the mass, which is the public. Most of them cannot tell the difference between propaganda and an actual story. But back to your question. So what do I see come Monday? It's a very tight race.
True.
And who beats the other between now and Monday requires a statuteness. And it's going to require a lot of intellect on both ends on how to end this game. It can skew anyway with the president. The president is very unpredictable. And any day he can decide to say, I'm staying with Kadaga. Any day he can decide to say, I am with Jacob Olanya. But I think that the one...
There are usually people in the system we call the indicators. And just seeing their blinks, their lights. The NRM system has boys and girls we call the indicators. When they blink, you read something. Are you watching the indicators?
The indicators seem to show that Jacob has the call. But like I have said, sometimes the indicators even become totally red.
But Joseph,
or you get double indicators.
Joseph,
yes,
just
quickly.
around that, there is one very important thing that actually we are all saying here without noticing that we are saying. That the systems of this country are dead and buried.
Yes.
That you have the legislature that should be able to sit where Helen here sits and decide their position that has been subsumed and consumed in the persona of General Yoweri Museveni. Yeah. That, in effect, tells you the fate of this country.
All right. Helen, how is this tense race affecting the legislature? There's a technical staff that has to keep the House running until Monday. How is it affecting
Helen, but for your paycheck, I don't envy you.
The operations of the House.
I think, thank you, Joseph, and good morning. I don't think it's affecting us as technical staff, really, because we're supposed to be objective and we have our work cut out for us.
That's on paper.
She said supposed.
And we have work to do, and we've been very busy.
Okay.
As you know, these last 4 days we've been very busy. But we've always known that whenever we come to a time like this, there's always an election of a speaker and a deputy speaker. And our role is to basically facilitate that process to take place, but not to involve ourselves in it. Ideally, I think that the changing one parliament to another, of course, there are changes, MPs go away, so it's a kind of, it has its emotional toll on us one way or the other. You've been with people for 5 years and they're going away, you're seeing them off, and there's these new people coming in. But basically, I should say that when I came in, Peter was saying, the social media gives it some hype. And of course, we read, but basically we watch what happens, but we don't have much to say about it. Okay. And we just watch as things happen.
In this whole campaign, it looks like after here, we're going to have to go to a swamp and pick the reputation of Parliament from there. It's been dumped in a swamp, and we have to go and pick it up. Wouldn't you agree with me on that?
I don't think so. I think we are doing very well. I think for these last 4 days, you've been following what's going on at Parliament. We've had a very successful swearing in inauguration ceremony. We're high up there. The mood is very good at the Parliament. I don't know whether you're talking about the 10th Parliament, or you're talking about the time where...
I like to give Helen some information. We just did a research and asked people, do you trust your member of Parliament?
Yes.
And actually 65% said they do trust their member of Parliament. I was shocked. I thought they were going to say they don't trust or whatever, but they do trust. But the percentages that did not know their member of Parliament are the negation that you see from the 62%.
For me, really, it's about how the two former leaders of the House now, I hope that I can say that with certainty, have managed themselves, their camps in this campaign. And it will go down in history as nasty. And that's why, for me, I think it packed the reputation of the House. Okay, you might say the former House. And dropped it in a swamp. And for you, from a public relations perspective, definitely, you're going to have to pick it from the swamp and bring it back.
I think whenever, what I can safely say, whenever there's going to be a competition for something, there will always be some kind of there are emotions involved in it. And, but I'll safely say that as staff of Parliament, technical staff, we wouldn't find that it's affected us in any way, because we're supposed to really work with anyone who comes on board. And we're supposed to support them, and we're supposed to be there to facilitate the process, because on Monday, you're going to see the staff who are going to be there. So I wouldn't say that internally it has affected us in any way. We're working together as a team. as the people we've been working with, everybody's, I think, happy. I should say, at least now we are very happy this week. And we're waiting for what is happening on Monday. With whoever comes, we'll welcome them and work with them. Because that is our role.
So yesterday on the front line, and since you're here, I think it's important to speak to that. The Honorable Ibrahim Semuju said, protocol at Parliament has arranged a table for one of the candidates that after swearing in, you are walked by a protocol officer to that table to get an invitation card to a dinner. Let's talk about that. That's not good practice, is it?
I watched the show, and I had Honorable Semuju, and Honorable Semuju is my boss. But I would like to say that if the table was there, protocol was not involved, because luckily enough, protocol is under, I work in, that's my department. And not at any one time did we set aside a table for the Right Honorable.
But there was a table. I was in there, and I can confirm there was a table. You know where the COVID jabs were being taken from?
The exits.
Absolutely, there was a table down there. Yeah,
if that was arranged, it was arranged on a private arrangement, but not protocol. Because when someone says protocol, he's trying to say that we knew that there was that setup and we set it up. No.
You certainly should have known at least.
Helen, let me
You might
ask.
not have, just hold it, you might not have set it up, but
Yes.
as director standing in, I'm sure you knew there was a table down there.
That there were a number of tables.
No, for that particular one. The one where invitation cards to a dinner.
I
were
like
being
that.
given.
There were different tables where it gave out different things. And if the table was there, what I'm trying to say, that it was, we had an arrangement.
By now, Helen, you know whether there was a table or not.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Yeah, there was an
And
arrangement.
there was one.
There was an arrangement we are part of as protocol, and it was formalized. It was, you walk up the podium, take your oaths, and go through the motions, and then take leave. Now, whatever happened, this was
And along the way, there was a table that fell within your tables, and someone put cards, and you weren't aware, and security wasn't aware, and somehow it could have compromised you.
Security was aware, but not involved.
Yeah, we're not involved in the table issues.
Thank you, Helen. Let's take a short break. The media roundtable will take a bit.